Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Real Talk Podcast with your host, the King of Shizzo Network, who also hosts this lovely reptile channel. I give you Larry Henson the Third. Wow. Thank you very much for that. That was a very, very lovely intro. I actually really enjoyed it for the most part. And I do see that some people actually did praise the song that was playing during the intro to this live stream, which I do again I do have to thank you for that, because believe it or not, that song that you just listened to is actually going to be part of the next Master Reptile album. The name of the single is called "Chased by a Demon." I'm currently collaborating with a metal artist, and he's gonna be doing the guitar tones for me, and I'm just providing the vocals. So that song you just listened to earlier, once again, I'll repeat it one more time. It's called "Chased by a Demon." Sooner or later, it might get released on the Spotify as a preview for the next album that's gonna be coming out. And I'm currently collaborating with a metal artist who is providing the guitar notes, and I'm going to be providing the vocals. So it's going to be a very interesting album for the most part. So there you go. All right. Now, that being said, let's see. The one thing that I do want to discuss first of all and foremost is for this Real Talk podcast is that I do need to discuss the one thing that has been happening very recently, and a lot of you are probably huge fans of it, most likely, but I just want to throw that out there for those who just aren't aware of what's going on, especially in the world of movies and film and all that stuff. You guys are probably very much aware of the Disney Plus subscription service that just came out, like about 5 days ago. Um, uh, some people are probably gonna ask me, well, Larry, what are your thoughts on the Disney Plus of the Disney Plus subscription service? Well, for me personally, it's gonna be hard for me to decipher whether or not if it's really good or bad and whatnot. But from what I'm seeing, everybody who's anybody has been giving Disney Plus a very positive. Have they've been giving positive reviews thus far, actually. Um, so believe it or not, people are actually saying that it's very affordable and all that stuff, and the amount of content that you get is pretty good too, because they give you like almost everything, any kind of like movie or TV show that you could possibly think of that Disney owns, especially when it comes to their subsidiary companies like Fox and all that. Like everything is on there. You know what I'm saying? So they have like the Marvel movies, they have the Star Wars movies, they have the Pixar movies, they have like everything that you could possibly think of. And this is in a way, this is kind of unleashing like a war. You know what I mean? Like it's unleashing a war, a streaming wars where like other streaming services such as Netflix or Hulu and all that stuff are like coming at. Well, to be fair, Hulu's not really part of that competition for the most part, because I do know that there is another version of the Disney Plus subscription service that you could get, where if you do pay like $13 a month, you would have not only access to Disney Plus but also Hulu and ESPN Plus as well. Or alternatively, you could just get the Disney Plus subscription service for only $7 a month, which again, that's a pretty affordable price for a subscription service that gives you like all kinds of stuff. Like it gives you Disney stuff, Pixar stuff, Marvel, Star Wars, National Geographic. It's a lot of stuff for only $7 a month. So I think I think so far Disney is going in the right direction so far. But some people might say that this might not help them for the most part, but I think it will. And here's why. First of all, The service has actually got 10. They actually had 10 million subscribers on the first day it was launched, which was November 12th, which again was 5 days ago. So Disney Plus ended up having 10 more than 10 million subscribers on the first day it was launched, which I think is absolutely incredible. And I think first of all, I think the fact that it launched a lot better than the WWE Network did, because don't you guys remember when the WWE Network freaking had launched in 2014, and it was said to have like a very large library of stuff, such as stuff from WWE, WCW, and ECW, and things of that nature, and all that stuff. They only hit like about, I think, 1 million when they first started. I think they didn't really have that much subscribers when they first started, if I'm being completely honest right now. So yeah, but still, they still have a decent amount of subscribers for the most part. But they've never reached they never reached the extent that Disney Plus has gotten. You also have to take into account that Disney is known by practically almost, well, the entire world, because let's be real, Disney is a very, very popular mainstream company. They've like I said, they own Marvel, they own Star Wars, they also have Pixar, and a lot of their films, their animated films, have been going strong for the past 80 years. So it's not that much of a surprise that Disney is arguably the most mainstream company that's out there right here, right now. So, and not to mention the fact that they just acquired Fox, which, and this is where I also have to come in and sort of defend Disney for some extent. I'm gonna publicly throw this out there. I am a proud Disney fanboy. I am going to put that out there. I am a Disney fanboy, but I am one of those fanboys who does call out Disney whenever they're wrong. But like, if I don't see that it's gonna affect like the business or anybody who's anybody in any kind of extent, then I just don't complain about it. Like, if Disney does throw out a movie that I do think is terrible, I'm going to straight up say it's freaking terrible, and I freaking hate it. But that's besides the point. What I'm saying is that when Fox was acquired by Disney, a lot of people, you see, the opinions were divided. You know what I'm saying? Like, people were concerned about the anti, I think it was called the antitrust laws, I believe, in the sense that Disney and Fox were basically like competitors. So the law stated that they can't do that, but the fact that the United States court actually allowed Disney to propose to Fox the price to buy their company was already enough to show that Disney was eligible to purchase Fox. So already those people's arguments about whether or not if Disney can have Fox or not was pretty much already invalid from the start, since the United States court allowed Disney to place a bid on Fox to purchase their company. And not to mention they ended up doing that. They now own Fox, and they've owned it since earlier this year. So it's a done deal, and there's nothing we could do. You know what I'm saying? And on the spectrum of people like complaining about Disney Plus, saying that, oh, Disney is very greedy and all that stuff, like, to me, it's kind of hard to decipher whether or not if Disney is greedy. I mean, like, you could kind of say that, and I could understand where the bad reputation of Disney being a friggin' greedy company kind of stems from. But for me personally, I don't look at Disney as a greedy company for the most part, because I'm only looking at it from the perspective of what they're trying to do and all that. And not to mention, it's not like they're using their money for like their own selfish purposes and try to take over the government or some stupid ass shit like that. No, this is just a company who's this is just a company who's just trying to throw out the best content that's out there. And you also got to keep in mind that there are some companies that are financially struggling. Like, for example, Marvel was actually financially struggling. Remember when they were financially struggling during the 90s, and then they had to sell all their film rights and all that stuff? I feel like because Disney now owns Marvel, Disney can provide Marvel with all the funds in the world to keep themselves going. And not to mention, it's not like Disney is forcing Marvel to make changes to their films just to appeal to their image and all that stuff. And just to further prove that there are executives at Disney who actually confirmed that they have absolutely no plans on toning down Deadpool. They're actually going to keep Deadpool the same R-rated anti-hero that he was before the Disney and the Disney Fox acquisition. So so there you go. It's not like I said, it's not like Disney is trying to take over all these companies and then ruin their products. This is only like a matter of opinion. It's like, sure, Disney does make some small changes to these companies every now and then. They kind of do that. Like, I do see where it's coming from, but it's not like they're turning all of our favorite products into complete baby films, like to the point where all the films are just for you know the children. Like, for example, in the Marvel movies, there's still, for a PG-13 movie, there's still tons of violence in the Marvel movies actually. Like, for example, don't you remember the scene in Infinity War where freaking Thor like jammed his axe right inside Thanos, like in his heart and all that stuff? Like, that's pretty violent for a PG-13 movie, but keep in mind that that it's also owned by Disney, so the fact that people are saying that they're literally toning it down just to make it entirely for kids, is, to me, it's complete bullshit. Because I don't, because if that were true, why would they include such a scene like that in the movie? And why would they include such dark topics such as death and all that? Well, to be fair, death has always been revolved around a lot in the Disney films for the past 80 years. I mean, like, we've seen the very first Disney villain fall to her death. If you guys know what I'm talking about, I'm talking about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Yeah, we saw the evil witch fall to her death, which has somewhat become of a tradition in Disney animated films, where the villains fall to their deaths rather than showing that they're physically dying. They just fall to their deaths and then they're never seen again. But in the Marvel movies, when you see a person die, you literally see their corpse. Like, if you guys saw Endgame, right? We literally saw Black Widow's dead corpse as well as Iron Man's dead corpse. Again, if Disney really was trying to ruin our favorite products by turning them into films that are completely for kids, why are they showing dead corpses in films? Why are they showing guys like Thor like stabbing freaking Thanos in the heart with an axe? Not to mention in an Endgame when Thor killed present day Thor. I mean, not Thor. I'm sorry, present day Thanos, by jamming him in the head with his axe. Like, stuff like that. Not to mention, why are they showing stabbings in Star Wars as well? If you remember in The Force Awakens, when Han Solo got murdered by Kylo Ren, which was a really sad moment. But yeah, there you go. And not to mention, if you've watched The Incredibles 2, they actually did something that actually completely shocked the hell out of me. Like, quite literally, they literally had language in this movie. Now, keep in mind, they never had language in the original The Incredibles movie, but they actually had some language in The Incredibles 2. Like, I remember there was this one moment where I think the main villain of the movie said the word hell, I think, and then I think another character said the word ass or something. I can't remember. It's been months since I've seen The Incredibles 2, actually, like almost about a year. But yeah. You might be saying, well, oh, Larry, that's just by today's standards. Those aren't, like, legit curse words. And to an extent, yeah, they are toned down. And yeah, cursing in films is common nowadays. But again, I'm shocked. The reason why I'm shocked is because this is a Pixar movie. And Pixar movies don't often do that. So this is why I was more than shocked when Disney actually gave Pixar the green light to have this kind of content in the movie. But you also have to keep in mind the director of the movie was Brad Bird, and Brad Bird has made some very hardcore movies. In fact, he even did, if memory serves me correctly, I think he also did The Iron Giant too. So, Brad Bird is a very distinct filmmaker, so that's probably another reason why The Incredibles 2 was very, like... In fact, keep in mind, Brad Bird had also did Ratatouille as well, which was in 2007. That one was the first Pixar movie to have a swear word in it. That was when Chef Skinner, who was the main villain of the movie, literally said to Linguini, "Welcome to hell." I'm like, at the time when I was a kid, I remember when I first saw Ratatouille when I was a kid, when it first came out on home media, I was actually shocked that he said that. I was like, oh my gosh, that chef said a bad word. I was just so shocked that it happened. And again, the fact that Disney gave them the green light is just further proof that Disney doesn't hold themselves back. They don't. Not to mention they also had alternative labels to release movies like that have adult content in it. And not to mention the fact that Disney also made PG-13 movies besides the Marvel movies, such as Pirates of the Caribbean, a movie that has some very very serious and dark tones in it, and all that stuff. So I don't know where this whole idea of Disney intentionally toning down a lot of content just to appeal to children is even coming from, because like I said, if you've seen all these movies that are clearly owned by Disney, and even some other Disney exclusive movies also has tons of adult content in it, it's just enough for me to just like ask where the hell all this is coming from. So yeah, I know this is just me pointlessly defending the Disney product, but like I said, I'm a fanboy. So if you guys want to come at me, I don't freaking care. I honestly really don't care what people think about, you know, Disney and all that. Like you can go ahead and say Disney's a greedy company all you want, and you can give them the bad reputation that you want to give to it, because believe it or not, you people made it into this. It didn't have to be like this. Because again, it's not like Disney is like saying, ha 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 ha, we want to take over the entire movie industry and all that, so that way we can be the only ones that are out there. You guys are like, it's not like Disney is trying to do this, because again, this is something that the people made it into. Disney didn't make it into this, the people did. You could complain about how bad the Disney product is all you want, but I think it's pretty hypocritical of you to say that anyway, because in the end of the day, you guys are going to be the same people who's going to be giving Disney their money. You guys are going to be the same people who's going to be buying Marvel products, because regardless of any Marvel product you buy, that money is going to go to Disney. Period. So either way, no matter if you buy anything that's Star Wars related or Marvel related or something like that, you guys are going to still give Disney their money. They are still going to attain the money, and they're not going anywhere anytime soon. With the amount of money they make, they're definitely not going anywhere. So you can complain all you want. They're not going anywhere. They're not going to. And not to mention, you guys are just easily making them stronger by giving them their money. I remember how I talked about in other videos that if you legit hate a product, then just stop supporting them and stop buying their stuff. Well, regardless of how many times people talk shit about Disney, they still go in and see the new films that come out. It's like people go in to see Avengers Endgame and they completely forget that the fucking movie is distributed by Disney. You know what I mean? So when you're buying a product that's essentially a subsidiary to an even bigger company, you also have to take into account that money is going to them. Again, keep in mind, Disney's providing the funds for Marvel, yes, but at the same time, the money you give to them for a company that they own is going to go to them in the end. And you guys are easily supporting Disney by basically showing how much of a fanboy most of you are to the Marvel films. You know what I'm saying? So as far as Star Wars is concerned, like, people have been giving Star Wars a very bad reputation nowadays, which I don't understand where the hate is coming from. Like, I can completely agree that it's not better than the original trilogy. Like, I do think the original trilogy is actually much better, if I'm being completely honest right now. But at the same time, I don't understand where all the hate for Star Wars is really coming from. Like, a lot of SJWs, as the community calls them, is basically trying to accuse Star Wars of trying to prove a political basically trying to prove like a political standpoint, basically like a political agenda, which I don't think that's the case at all, because I don't really see much of anything. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know where all of this is coming from. So yeah, the original trilogy was better. I agree. But at the same time, I don't think Star Wars should have the bad reputation that it does have. Because, again, people have talked positively about these movies. Like, even the sequel trilogy. Like, people have been praising them. So that's why I don't complete. That's why I don't understand where the hate is coming from. First of all, I really enjoy, regardless of what people thought of the Last Jedi. I absolutely enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie. Regardless of what people thought of the Force Awakens, I enjoyed it. Not gonna lie once again. Now, like I said, that's why it surprised me when, at least according to Rotten Tomatoes, that The Last Jedi was highly praised by critics, but audiences just weren't, appreciative of it. Which again, I don't understand why, because this is one of the only times where I have to agree with the critics. There are moments where I do agree with the audience, but there are also moments where I mostly agree with the critics, and this movie is one of them, because the movie actually did have a lot of surprising twists. It also had a lot of emotional weight. The action sequences were amazing. The cast was amazing. The musical score, the effects, and all that. It was great. Like, I absolutely enjoyed The Last Jedi. So I don't understand where the hate, as far as, the political agendas, are even coming from, unless people can use some evidence from these movies that they're trying to prove a political point. Then then I can't believe them. And even if the movie was trying to prove a political agenda, which I didn't really notice anyway, then who the fuck cares? Just watch a movie and just enjoy it for what it is. You don't have to go into like this heated debate over, like, they said this, that, and the third, completely overshadowing what the movie was trying to do in the end. So I don't. So again, you people made it into this. It didn't have to be like this. This is something that you people made it into. And now at this point, I wouldn't even be surprised if audiences are still gonna act butthurt when the new Star Wars movie is, because right now, people are so excited about the Rise of Skywalker, but I guarantee you that people are still gonna complain about this movie when it comes out. I guarantee it. So again, you guys can talk shit about Star Wars or Disney all you want, but you people are still gonna go in and watch and still watch this movie. Don't even try to deny it, because at this rate, it's not even a surprise. It's not even news. It's more like common knowledge. Can we just be real? Like, you people are just giving Disney more energy and more power for them to keep going and all that stuff, and they're gonna keep going as long as you keep giving them money. As long as you give them money, then they're gonna still do their thing. You know what I'm saying? So again, and don't even look at it as if it's a selfish thing, because how are businesses supposed to run anyway? If they're not, because in fact, there's a reason why Blockbuster went out of business, because people wasn't even buying their stuff anymore. And that's why they went out of business, and that's why there's only one Blockbuster that's left remaining, and that's mostly for the nostalgia. You know what I'm saying? So when Blockbuster went out of business, that was because, and not to mention Circuit City too also went out of business, because people wasn't really buying most of their stuff from there, especially with the advent of online shopping and stuff like that. Although I know what some people is gonna say in the comments or the chat. They're most likely gonna say, "Oh well, Circuit City just recently made a comeback because they actually just relaunched themselves, but this time as an online store." And you're right. Circuit City actually did revive themselves very recently. They actually did. I'm not sure how they're doing right now, but it seems to me that they're starting to make a really decent comeback and all that. But again, you also have to keep this in mind too. They're not as popular as they used to be. You know what I mean? So but that's a topic that we'll discuss later on that we'll discuss later on in this video, because I actually do want to talk about Circuit City too. I just want to finish what I got to say about Disney. So my overall comments on the Disney Plus service is that I do wish Disney the best of luck to this service, because it looks like it has potential. They do offer you a 7-day free trial, so if you guys are interested in signing up with Disney Plus just to see how it is, they do offer a 7-day free trial. So you can definitely go ahead and get it yourself. You guys can Google it. You could go to their website, disneyplus.com, and then you can start your free trial right now. Now, I know what you guys might be saying. Oh, is Disney paying you to advertise their product? No, I know they're not paying me anything. I'm just saying to anybody who's interested, they do have a 7-day free trial, so you guys can go over there if you want to and just check out the service. At least check out Disney Plus before you freaking criticize it from the get-go, because that's the thing. When Disney Plus was first announced, people started giving it a bad rep, saying that, Disney is greedy and all that stuff. But in my opinion, I think this is a clever thing to do because it gives people a much more convenient way of accessing the Disney film library and all that stuff. So I think it's clever, and not to mention it's an ad-free. I think it's also ad-free as well. They also give you an ad-free version of Hulu as well if you sign up for the $13 subscription as well. So in the end, just give Disney Plus a try before you criticize it. So far, people have been giving it very positive reviews because of how affordable it is and how much content they have access to and all that for a service that's only $7 a month. So I think the fact that people are praising it for this reason alone is already a really positive thing. You know what I'm saying? So So yeah, that's what. That's all I'm saying. So from what I've gathered, like I said, everything is on there, and even the X-Men movies and stuff is on there because, like I said, the Fox library is also on there too. So just give it a chance, at least. Me personally, I'm definitely gonna try it out, just to see how it is and all that stuff. I mean, I'm already paying a lot of bills enough as it is, but I will give it a shot too. I'm a Disney fan. I'm a huge Disney fanboy in the end of the day and all that stuff. So I can't really bring myself to hate them. I don't think that everything they do is right. So I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea. I don't think that everything they do is right, but I'm saying that they don't deserve the bad reputation that people are making it into. Because again, the SJWs and other Disney haters alike made it into this. Disney didn't do it. The people did. And that's why I have a couple friends of mine like Levon and all that stuff trying to, try to agree to them because they ultimately believe these people, which I'm thinking to myself, well, why? I mean, it's one thing if you do. It's one thing if you do think that Disney is kind of doing some bad stuff, but like to completely agree with other people when there's a lack of evidence and the fact that you don't give me your argument to support your claim was enough for me to, ask questions. So that's why I kind of sometimes get a little heated. But other than that, if people do hate on Disney, I honestly don't give a shit because people are free to like whatever they want to like. So, me on the other hand, I'm a Disney fan until the day I die. I'm just like I'm like the WWE. I'm like a WWE fan who's still going to support the company regardless of how much I think the product is shitty and all that stuff. Because I've been a fan of the company for over 10 years. Yes, that's right. I've been a fan of WWE for over 10 years. So, yeah, I can't bring myself to hate them even when I do want them to fail, just to show them how much they're fucking up. Especially with the whole Wednesday Night Wars thing in AEW, which is going to be another topic that we're going to talk about on this podcast too. Actually, but with what Disney Plus said out of the way, the one thing that I think I never thought I'd see ever since I've been alive. Like, I remember when I was a kid, I would make visits to this place every now and then. And the fact that they're making a comeback is enough for me to have more hope that companies themselves can easily, like, bring themselves right back up from the dead. I have to talk about Circuit City. Not to mention the fact that Toys R Us is also trying to make a comeback too, but only for the holiday season as far as I know, because they don't have enough financial backing to continue themselves. So, but from what I've gathered though, the company actually did rebrand themselves very recently, sometime like earlier this year, I think. Now they're known as the True Kids brand now, from what I understand. This is because they This is because they acquired Toys R Us and Babies R Us, right? They acquired that, and I think what they're planning to do is that they're either gonna have like they're either gonna have revive the brands by reviving all the stores and all that, or just keeping it online only. I don't know what they plan to do, but I'm more focused on Circus City for today because Circus City is the one I think that needs to be talked about the most. And here's why. This is because like people were talking about a lot. They were talking a lot about uh they were talking a lot about how Toys R Us is gone and the nostalgia is gone and all that stuff. But rarely have I ever heard people talk about Circus City, and I know exactly why. Because people barely even give a shit about it, which is sad. Because when Circus City was founded 70 years ago, back in 1949. First of all, it wasn't even called Circus City at the time. It was actually called the Wards Company. It wasn't until 1984 when they were called Circus City. But yeah, like when Circus City was around, it was one of the most popular electronic retail companies in this country. So when Circus City was closed down back in 2009, it came as a surprise to a lot of people because again they were a very popular company. But again, you also have to realize that it mostly stemmed from the fact that they were losing money because people weren't buying from them a lot, and this was during a time when online shopping was starting to become a lot more popular. I feel like the 2010s is when online shopping started to become a thing with things like eBay and Amazon. I feel like Amazon right now is really stealing the show. Almost everybody goes on Amazon and all that, and I am a proud Amazon customer myself. And I'm not gonna lie, I love Amazon. I'm a Amazon fanboy. Not gonna lie, like I love shopping on here all the time. Like this is where I plan to get a lot of my holiday gifts and all that stuff. But again, that's not part of this topic. But I do, but what I do plan to do for the future is give Circus City another chance, especially since when Circus City closed down as when they closed down back in 2009, I was only 10 years old. I think I was only 10 years old when Circus City went out of business. So I was too young to understand like the consequences of this happening. And then as I got older, I finally got to understand the business and how it worked and why they got defunct in the first place. And I was just like, man, that's sad, because I was too young to really experience Circus City. Because again, when they closed down back in 2009, I was only 10 years old. So, but but about Circus City though making its comeback, yes, they actually have made their comeback, and they've had a new CEO since 2016. Uh, and I think this is great. I think this is absolutely great. The fact that Circus City is back and all that, and is back and all that, and also remember, you guys know Tiger Direct, right? Tiger Direct is basically like it's basically a it's basically an online retailer that deals with electronics and computers and all that stuff. So it actually believe it or not, it actually acquired, no, it's not acquired, I'm sorry. It actually is a subsidiary company now to Circus City, believe it or not. I think, if memory serves me correctly, I don't know if this is true. I do believe that Tiger Direct. Well, first of all, the new CEO is the owner of Circus City, but I think Tiger Direct is also the ones that relaunched Circus City very recently. You know what I'm saying? So you have to keep in mind that Circus City pioneered the electronic superstores during the 70s. That's another thing. Like a lot of people don't realize the history or know the history of Circus City that much. Well, I'm gonna give you like a quick I'm gonna give you like the quickest rundown as far as I can give to you. So yeah, like I was saying, Circus City first of all was founded in the 40s. You know what I mean? Like it was a television and a home appliance store originally. It wasn't until like the 1980s when they revamped their image and started to become more of a sorry, yeah, when they started becoming more of a whole electronic superstore, and it had been like that. It's been like that ever since. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, they've really pioneered electronic superstores since the 70s. So it had been popular for so many years, which is why it came as a shock when Circuit City went defunct. And as of right now, Circuit City is currently still defunct, but as a retail store. But Circuit City is currently revived, but as an online store now, since that's where people shop on. And I don't know exactly how they're performing right now, like as far as how they're doing financially with this new online store format. So the only thing that I can decipher as far as how Circuit City is doing is that by the looks of things, it looks like they're doing much better now. It seems like they're doing much better as an online retailer rather than a physical retail store. But in my opinion, I do think they should come back physical as a physical retail store. And here's why: because a lot of electronic stores nowadays are starting to fade away because of the advent of online shopping. Because again, companies like Amazon are taking over the world. Now, the only electronic stores that I think I could think of that are currently still around that's actually still being financially healthy, as far as I know, is Target, Best Buy, and Walmart. So yeah, Target, Best Buy, and Walmart. Those three are like the only ones I can think of. Like the only three superstores. Now, I know people are probably going to say, well, those are more like mall stores and all that stuff. And yeah, that's true. Like, you got to keep in mind, the term mall usually means a superstore consisting of like other stores being inside of it, like a smaller one. You know what I'm saying? Like, Circuit City can do the same thing. But it's more like I know Circuit City is more focused on the electronic spectrum because you already know companies like Walmart and Target also has stuff like clothes and food and all that stuff. Like I understand that. So if you really do want to focus on the electronic superstore spectrum, I would say Best Buy for the most part. Best Buy, it fits that description more than Walmart and Target, in my opinion. But Best Buy, as far as I can tell you, is like the only electronic superstore that I can think of that's like still financially healthy, because people go there all the time, and they also have amazing sales too around, especially during this time in the holiday season. In fact, I think Best Buy is like the place that most people go to when they're trying to like find TVs because of their sales and all that stuff. And keep in mind that Best Buy has been around since the 1960s. It's been around for 53 years. It was founded in 1966 in St. Paul, Minnesota. So yeah, they've done it all and they've seen it all. So and again, Best Buy is also basically the most mainstream electronic retailer like in this country. So in a way, I can understand why Circuit City would be nervous to come back as a physical electronic retail company, especially since Best Buy has already kind of stole the show at this point. But I feel like Circuit City could. It could essentially be the AEW of the electronic retail business, in the sense that Circuit City could be, a genius alternative to Best Buy, and just like how AEW, also known as All Elite Wrestling, is the new alternative to WWE because they are also part of a mainstream platform known as TNT, which is one of the most popular networks on TV because they have like I think they have like 50 million viewers, I think. So yeah, AEW is very exposed to that. Is very exposed to these audiences and all that stuff. Even if their show in particular doesn't have the most viewers, but the fact that they're on one of the most popular cable networks on TV right now, is just proof and all that. Not to mention the fact that AEW has the financial backing to compete with WWE because the owner of the company has a higher net worth than Vince McMahon himself, Shahid Khan, as well as his son Tony Khan, who also happens to be a wrestling fan himself. I know we're getting off topic a little bit here, but the point I'm trying to make is that we need an alternative to Best Buy, in my opinion. I get it. Best Buy is very good. I get that. Best Buy is an amazing store, but it wouldn't hurt to at least have an alternative because not everyone is a fan of Best Buy. You got to keep that in mind. Not everyone's a fan of it. So if Circuit City can somehow find a way to give customers a reason to go to their company, they can again be the alternative to Best Buy. And that's what we need. We need a new physical electronic retail with multiple locations that play as an alternative to Best Buy. You know what I mean? And Circuit City fits that description since they've proven that they can be a very successful business, especially after after 10 years of being defunct. They would make a comeback in 2016. You know, after all those years, they would make a comeback, something that none of us saw coming. It was like for a while they talked about being revived, and it finally happened. But as of right now, Circuit City is an online store. It looks pretty sophisticated. Like when you go onto their website, it pretty much looks just like any kind of generic online electronic store that you would think of. Like when you go onto a website and all that stuff. Currently, Circuit City is having a sale where you can save up to I think $150 on select laptops from companies like HP, Dell, MSI, and all that stuff. So they do have a sale and all that stuff, and currently one of their top products are these new monitors and all that stuff. So from what I'm understanding, they do have some customers coming in and all that stuff. In fact, in my opinion, what I think Circuit City should do to make themselves better is I think they should have like an easy payment. They should have payment plans, like in the sense where if people cannot pay for like a very expensive computer, like right from the very get-go, what they should do is that they should have a payment plan like QVC where you would pay like a certain amount of money a month until it's paid off. Like it could be like, I don't know, a 6-month plan or a whole year even. You know what I mean? If Circuit City can somehow do that, like I'm literally giving this out to them as a suggestion to make their company better. If you guys really do want to be a true alternative to Best Buy, introduce payment plans. Trust me. Payment plans will be a perfect way for people to pay off certain items that they can't pay for upfront. Because, like, imagine if somebody has a computer that breaks down on them and they need a new one, like, right now, but they don't have the money to do that. They're obviously not going to take out loans and all that stuff. Because then that would mean they would put themselves in debt if they, like, put themselves in a position where they can't pay back the money they borrow. So, in my opinion, they should have a payment plan for those who like need a product right now. Basically a buy now and pay later kind of thing. If Circuit City can do that, I think in my opinion they can be a true alternative to Best Buy. As a matter of fact, I might actually make a video essay explaining why Circuit City should come back as a new alternative to Best Buy. Just to give people an idea on how Circuit City can better themselves and be that true alternative. I know I'm using that word a lot, but I'm putting a lot of emphasis on this because I actually see the potential that Circuit City has, because they actually have a chance to reintroduce themselves to electronic consumers. And one of the best ways to do that is to do a buy now and pay later option. That's just my personal opinion on it. You can have your opinions however you want, it don't really matter, but that's what I think should happen. Now, I'm going to leave it up to you guys to decipher whether or not if you guys do want to see Circuit City make a physical comeback, like as a physical online retail, like as a physical electronic retailer, but for now they're online only. But I can tell you that they do have some sales going on right now. Like I said, some of the most expensive laptops that they're selling right now is currently on sale. So again, if you guys are interested in buying from Circuit City, they do offer free shipping for orders over $35. So you could go over there. You could create an account with Circuit City as well. So yeah, go ahead and do that. So they also do have protection plans as well, where it will provide you with 100% full coverage and all that stuff. and it's basically typical stuff. But again, they do have that. So if you guys are interested, like I said, just take a look. Okay. They also have installations. They also have installation services too, but I don't know too much about that either. I do believe that if you're trying to like install like a product that requires to be built and all that stuff, they will have an expert technician come to your home and help you do that and all that stuff. So, like I said, make it that if you will. Okay. So, I'm so sorry. But yeah, that's my thought. That's my thought on the whole Circuit City thing. I've always wanted to talk about it for a long time, and yeah, I wanted to talk about it for a long time, but it's one of those topics where I kept forgetting to bring it up. You know what I mean? So. Now real quick before I move on to the next topics, first I'm just gonna look at the chat real quick just so I can reply to a couple of people because if you guys are wondering how come I'm not focused on the chat too much when I'm talking about certain stuff is because I can lose my train of thought very easily. So I like to talk about it when I'm done discussing what I'm talking about, so that way I can keep everything separate because I don't like looking at multiple things at the same time and thus throwing off my train of thought because I do lose my train of thought really fast. Okay. So let me look at some of the comments. Most of it is from my friend Levon for the most part. Um, like I said. So, like I said, he did say earlier that he had mixed reactions to the acquisition, which again I kind of find weird because at the time Levon was really excited about the whole acquisition, and then when it happens, he doesn't feel all that excited, which I found pretty funny. And he's saying that from what he's hearing, he's saying that he wants that they want to put the Fox films in the vault and remake the Fox films. Now, there have been, as far as I can tell you, dude, there are no reports, as far as I know, about Disney remaking Fox films. As far as I can tell you, um, as far as I can tell you, some of the Fox films that they do plan to reboot, actually, like for example, Home Alone and all that stuff, and Night at the Museum and stuff like that. So far, most of that stuff are just more like reports and all that stuff, as far as I can tell you. But nothing has been officially been confirmed yet, and I don't think it's in their lineups. There are, I mean, like I said, there are like multiple reports and all that stuff, but nothing has been officially confirmed yet because all the Fox films are like still like available like in the market, so you can still get them, and they do plan on still putting them as part of their Disney Plus services and all that stuff. So yeah, like I said, there are reports of it. I'm not trying to deny that. Yeah, there are reports of Disney like trying to remake it, but it's not. But I don't think it's a guarantee that every single film, every single Fox movie is going to be rebooted. You know what I mean? And not to mention, reboots are pretty common nowadays. So it's like, what's the difference if Disney reboots a film that Fox made versus a video game that's been rebooted, such as Call of Duty? So I don't really see much of a difference. I mean, sure, I'm not the biggest fan of a Home Alone remake either, but it's like, what's the difference? It's like, what's the difference? Almost everything is being remade nowadays. Or Die Hard, yeah. Like I said, everything is being remade nowadays, so I don't really care. It's like, if Disney throws out something that I don't like or I'm a big fan of, I just simply don't care about it and I just move on and do my own thing, honestly. Because it's like, unless I think of it as like this, unless they're affecting me on a personal level, why should I give a crap if they throw why should I give a shit if they throw out a very bad remake? Why should I care? Because it's not like it's affecting my finances, it's not affecting my mental health, it's not affecting anything that's a part of me. So why should I care if they throw out a crappy remake or whatnot? I mean, I probably would or would not watch it. I mean, I probably wouldn't watch it. But again, why should I care if it's even out anyway? Because it's not like it's affecting me personally. So it's like I'm not gonna go on Twitter and just act like a crybaby and say, "Oh my gosh, why is Disney, throwing out, a very crappy remake of, a beloved film from like the '90s and all that." It's like, who cares? Like, for the love of God, who cares? I definitely don't. I probably wouldn't watch this remake, this reboot. But again, unless it's affecting me on a personal level, I don't care. They can do whatever. Disney can do whatever the hell they want, regardless if I love it or not, because they're gonna do what they think is right, and I have no say in what they do. So there's no point in complaining about it. Now, to an extent, there's nothing wrong with reboots if they're done well. So it's not like I'm saying that remakes are a bad thing. So I'm just saying that there are remakes that we do need, and then there's some that we don't need. So that's all I'm saying, really. So, I'm sorry. Whew. But yeah, that's all I'm saying. Now, like I said, everybody has their opinions about The Last Jedi. Personally, like I said, I enjoyed it for the most part. Not everyone's a fan of it, which I can completely understand. So we're gonna skip that, because like I said, everyone has their opinions. So, and again, the identity politics, I don't see. Again, that's why I have to go off the record. I don't see any identity politics in any of these movies because again, that's what the people made it into by looking at the way the characters are being portrayed, such as women in films, like for example Rey, like saying how they're trying to prove a political point by appealing to feminists and all that stuff, when again, this is something that the people made it into, and and again, they didn't have to be like this. So I don't so again, I don't understand where so again, I don't really understand what the whole point of this is. So unless it's like clear to me, then I just don't really see that. That's all I'm really saying. And thank you to what's the name? Jump and Genetica Brown for the subscribe. I really appreciate it. So thank you. But yeah, I don't see any identity politics on there. They're most likely trying to say how the characters were used in the films. I personally don't see it. So uh but yeah, that's all. Really, that's all I say. Also, Lucasfilm bullied the fans by calling them racist and sexist just because they didn't like The Last Jedi. If you want to know more info on what I'm talking about, go watch Midnight Edge's video on it. It documents how this have happened. Okay, so he's saying that he has a video. So Levon said that there's a video saying that Lucasfilm allegedly bullied fans for the ones who didn't like the Last Jedi, which I find incredibly hard to believe, because I don't see how a large company like Lucasfilm would even give a shit about what fans say about their movies. So, so I don't. So I really don't know. So that one's a hard one. So that's all I'm saying. And again, that's what the people made it into and all that stuff. Now, on to the next topic, which I might make this my last one. Now, I'm not going to make this actually my last one, actually. I am actually going to be discussing. There was another thing that I did want to talk about. First of all, there is a very serious topic that I do need to talk about in this video, because there actually have been some stuff that happened in my life that I do need to, throw out there. But yeah, there's one very serious topic that I do want to talk about in this live stream. Uh, yeah, I do agree. I do agree with Pinder on this one. The whole complaints about live action remakes is getting old, even though you were good at even though they were good or bad. Yeah, I actually do agree with that. It's like it is getting old because it's like at this point all Disney is trying to do is just reintroduce their old films to modern audiences, and regardless if they're good or bad, who the fuck cares? That's all I'm saying. But yes, in my life, yes, there actually was a very traumatic incident that happened. I did post about it on my Facebook, but so the fact that I'm even still here is a blessing in disguise. So I will be talking about that later on. Um, but yeah, I don't want you guys to go. I don't want you guys to go anywhere. Um, we're going to be taking a 5 minute break from the podcast and all that stuff. So, like I said, if you guys so far are enjoying this podcast, make sure you subscribe for more more podcasts and even videos on this channel as well. Um, and I really do appreciate the support that you guys have been giving me and all that because it really means a lot and all that because everything that you guys have been doing very recently, has meant a lot. Because I honestly didn't think, that the amount of subscribers and the support that I would have very recently would just be, would be this much. Like it's overwhelming, and the only thing I can also tell you guys too, as far as I can tell you, is that so far my mental health is seeking some improvements because I've been hanging around family, I've been around friends and all that stuff who have been, been around me and all that. So, the fact that they're, spending time with me and all that is, making me feel better. So therefore, I really, can't complain. So, but yeah, like I said, we are gonna take a 5 minute break from the stream. But for now, if you guys do wish to subscribe to the channel, subscribe to my social media platforms and all that, I would suggest you do so. So we'll be right back in 5 minutes, okay? So don't go. We'll be right back in 5 minutes, okay? So just don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with for more of the Real Talk podcast. I do apologize that did have to do that break. Now, to be fair, I usually don't do breaks in between live streams and all that stuff, but sometimes, but I do know that it's actually healthy because it helps regain my train of thought. So that's why it ended up happening. So I do apologize. Yeah. So yeah, we're back again. Um, yeah. There are some, some other things I do want to discuss too that I think you guys will love for the future. Actually, um, the one thing I can tell you is that I do have a new video being uploaded tomorrow. Now, hang on one sec. I'm sorry. So I had to drink a little bit of water so I could clear my throat. So yeah, I do have a new video coming out tomorrow. You guys, you guys probably don't know this, but I am a member and an officer of a video game anime club at my college. At my college, I've been like that for about a month already, and and we are and I'm actually filming some videos in there. Like we're playing some video games such as King of Fighters 13, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, stuff of that nature, including Bloody Roar as well. You guys will be seeing videos of them in the future, but yes, I do have a new video that's out. Which if I can, try to show it. Which if I can try to show it real quick on this live stream or on this podcast, like I usually don't do this, but this is my own live stream, so I have my own style. I don't care, but but yeah, there is a new video that that I actually have made very recently. I just recently rendered the video, but the only thing I can show you so far is like what's in it and all that stuff. So pardon me. So yeah, that's the only thing I could do is kind of give you like, just in a sense, I could give you like a little bit of a preview, basically. So yeah, this would be the. One second, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I had to mute the video, basically. Actually. So yeah, there you go. So as you can see, this is the new video that I just made. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit, but yeah, this is the new video that will be uploaded to the channel tomorrow. This is basically like a gameplay video, and that's my friend Jordan, who's a member of the club. He's a very awesome guy, and he's very good at this game too. We were playing King of Fighters 13, and yeah, for the most part, he whooped my ass because again, even though he's not the all-time greatest player at this game, he's still pretty good. So in this video, we basically like played like a series of matches against each other, most of which was just us being so so freaking salty to one another. I mean, I was the one who was being mostly salty for the most part, which is most likely why people are gonna enjoy watching this video for the most part. But yeah, that's basically what this video was. It was just us playing King of Fighters 13 throughout most of it, and there were a bunch of friends of mine in the background that were just like, yelling and having fun and all that stuff. So for a while, I've always wanted to do, a collaboration video with somebody who lived near me. That I mean, besides my cousin Nostradante, who I've done several videos with already, I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it with other folks, like in terms of like, fighting games and stuff like that, because my cousin is not the biggest fan of fighting games. So for a while I've always wanted to do that, and this was like the perfect time for me to do it. So yeah, this video has a lot of hilarious edits in it, so I'm not going to spoil it a lot, as I want you guys to check out the video when it's uploaded tomorrow. It will be premiering tomorrow at around, I would say, 3 p.m. So you guys can definitely check out the video when it comes out then. I might actually release it sometime earlier, but I'm probably gonna do 3 because I think that's the time when people are most available. But yeah, there's a lot of hilarious edits in it, so hopefully you guys will enjoy this video. And you guys will love my friend Jordan, because my friend Jordan is like, he's so funny. I'm not gonna lie, and like I said, he's very good. So that's gonna be the new video for tomorrow. Hopefully you guys will actually get the chance to check it out when it premieres. Now, For the final topic for this podcast is something that is extremely, and I do mean it's extremely important. It's a very, very, very dark topic, and I really didn't want to bring this up, but it's actually part of the reason how come I haven't been uploading recently, and that's because I have been dealing with a. That's because I've been dealing with a lot of traumatic stress. And there's a good reason for that too, because this was back on November 12th, which ironically, which ironically was the exact same day the Disney Plus service got launched. But yeah, basically what happened during that time on November 12th, I went to work. I went to my job to work overnight, right? The problem was that somebody was shooting at that McDonald's at the time. I remember that night. I went in. I was waiting for a register of mine to use. I heard like four shots come out of nowhere. My two coworkers were running to the my coworkers were running to the back to hide and all that stuff. And at that point, I saw the instinct to like find a place to hide. So like I don't know if it was inside the restaurant or if it was on the outside. It sounded like it was on the outside, but yeah, there were like four gunshots that went off, and then I heard like two more. I think, yeah, I heard like two more. Um, and my coworkers were running to the back, most likely to hide. And I remember when I also went to hide too. I went into there was like a refrigerator and a freezer nearby, so I went in there and that's when I had to hide. I was hiding inside the freezer. I locked the doors and I locked the freezer doors and all that, and I also put stuff like in front of the doorway just in case the lock was broken. Then they would still barely be able to come in, and I sat in that frozen. I sat inside that freezer for almost 10 minutes because and it was hard for me to get service inside there too, but the fact that my phone was still working was a blessing in disguise. So I remember I was texting my mother and my dad, my father, as far as what was going on, and they weren't answering their phones at all. So I had to call my brother, who had to help me throughout the situation, and and from there, my parents came to the restaurant to make sure everything was fine, and by the time they did get there, the situation had already died off. Little did I know, because I did actually stay in the refrigerator a little longer than I was supposed to. But the moment I came out of the fridge was when one of my coworkers knocked on the refrigerator door, and my coworker Kia, was standing right there. I was wondering what she wanted, and she asked me to give her a freaking a caramel frappe base bag so that way she could make more caramel frappes. So from that point, I calmed down a little bit. I walked out and I was checking everything to make sure everything was fine. And I was going around checking to make sure that everything was fine. And that's basically what happened. To sum everything up, nobody was hurt, thankfully, in the shooting. Nobody was hurt. However, one of my coworkers, whose name I'm not gonna mention in this live stream for privacy reasons, he's not allowed to come back to the McDonald's at all, because he was the one who ended up pulling out the gun. Now, at the time, I didn't know who pulled out the gun until I asked who was responsible, because guns were involved. But so I had to ask who was involved, and it turned out one of my coworkers was the one that did it. So I could have just stayed there, and I could have just stayed hidden and all that stuff. But if in case he was gonna turn the gun on me, because it seemed like that he went, because I think he went fucking crazy. So in the sense, just in case that he was gonna go nuts and turn the gun on to me, because I did absolutely nothing, because like I just went in and that's what happened, and so I that's why I ended up hiding. So I was sorry. So I literally got right into the store, right? Like I'm not even making this up. Like as soon as went inside the restaurant, was when shit hit the fan. Like, I literally saw this woman like angrily talking on the phone, like she was straight up yelling, and then I could see my managers were like threatening to call the cops and all that stuff because it seemed like that there was an altercation going on at some point and all that stuff. So that's why I freaking so yeah, I have been dealing with a lot of traumatic stress very recently. Like I actually almost had a panic attack and I almost like lost my shit earlier this week, so I had to call my friend over to help to my house to help me cope through my issues, and thank God he was there because if he was, I probably would have lost it. Uh, all right, right now I do see something going on in the chat right now. This is like the one and only time I'm gonna have to stop talking about what I'm talking about because right now there's some conversation in the chat going on about whether or not if I'm single, and I did have a girlfriend at one point. To answer, first of all, no, I never did have a girlfriend. I never had a girlfriend at all. Now I know what Levon is referring to. He's referring to the fact that there was a girl that I did know at the time when I was like 17 years old, where I liked her and we was trying to work on a bond and all that stuff. But no, never had a girlfriend ever, and I still don't. I am still a single man. So that's just to answer the question because I don't like it when people start spreading all this misinformation about myself and all that, and not to mention just the fact that somebody is literally like freaking asking me, like, my relationship status is kind of is enough for me to be creeped out a little bit because I'm just like, why the fuck is people trying to figure out what my relationship status is? Like, why the fuck do you care? It's like it's not even your business. I mean, it's not that I hate the fact that the dude asked if I was single or not. Like I don't mind that, but I still think it's pretty random that someone asked me that question and it had nothing to do with what I was talking about because I'm literally talking about I'm literally talking about how I almost got shot to death earlier this week. Not early, was it earlier this week? Yeah, earlier this week at my job, and that's and that's the first thing that pops into the head. But yeah, no hard feelings. I just think it's a little weird. So, but yeah, I was even lucky enough that I even made it out of the situation. Like, that it was I was even surprised I even made it out of that situation because I legit thought I was not gonna come out of that McDonald's alive. I actually thought that. Like I said, I literally had to go so far as to hide in the cold ass freezer, and I literally had to like put a bunch of frozen buns and fries and all that stuff like in these boxes and all that stuff. Like I had to make sure I blocked the doors just on the very case that somebody, whether it be one of my coworkers or someone else who's crazy, like tries to come back there and try to like freaking go in there just in case somebody was hiding and all that stuff. So yeah, my heart was pounding throughout the whole thing. Like I almost had a heart attack. Like I legit almost passed out. But I stayed awake. I stayed quiet as quiet as I could, while still texting with my brother to make sure everything was fine. By the time my parents got there, they saw that the situation was fine, so that's why they didn't stay any longer. I was like, well, by the time you got here, the situation had already died down, and the cops had already left. So, uh, so yeah, and that's because again, nobody got hurt and all that stuff, and somebody was able to cool off was able to cool my coworker down. Now, like I said, I just cannot believe that. I just can't believe that my coworker would do something like this because, like I said, it was my coworker who was actually setting the gun off. I have absolutely no idea what was going on in his head that would make him want to pull out a gun on somebody. What did this person do that was so bad that you had to freaking even have the single thought of pulling out a gun just to hurt somebody? Because like you have to seriously be angry to even pull out a gun and then shoot somebody, because when you pull a trigger on a human being, you're really hurting them. Like a bullet is going inside their body and then it stays stuck in there, and then they have to get surgery just to get it out. And that pain, I don't know what it's like to get shot, and hopefully I don't get shot one day, hopefully, but I know for a fact that it's not very pleasant. I know that for a fact because the bullet is going right inside you and it's staying stuck inside your skin, which is why people often have to get surgery just to get it out. And God forbid if they do die, which hopefully they don't. So So yeah, it's like using a gun or a knife is like the most effective way to hurt somebody. And in my mind, I think that's completely cowardice because it's like most of the time when people pull out guns and all that stuff, it's usually on an unarmed person. And it's like if you're going to pull a gun on an unarmed person, then that in my opinion makes you a coward. I feel like if you're at least going to start a fight with somebody, not that I condone violence, but at the very least, if you're gonna start a fight with an unarmed person, at least have an even playing field. You know what I mean? Like, don't just freaking pull out a weapon on somebody. And even then, why the fuck are we fighting over some dumb shit? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why are we fighting over the littlest things when there's other things in this world that's way worse than whatever what's going on out there? Because as far as I'm concerned, I'm pretty sure she did not rape your mother, that she did not kill your brother or your sisters and whatnot and all that stuff. But then you had to pull out a gun and then risk the safety of people who are working around you and then risk your own job because you just felt the need to pull out a fucking gun. And guess what? I was scared. Do you have any idea how scared I was for my life? This was like the first time that I was actually scared for my life. Like, I legit thought I was going to die. As many times as I have tried to contemplate suicide, I had not once ever feared for my life more than I did than that time. Like, I am dead serious. And I know what you guys might be saying. Well, Larry, you always you threatened to commit suicide on yourself. Well, listen, like I said, first of all, nobody knows what I'm going through mentally because most people just usually judge me by how I am, because I've said multiple times on this channel that I go through depression and anxiety and I've been dealing with it for 4 years. So the fact that I even have suicidal thoughts shouldn't even come as much as a surprise, and it's not like it happens on purpose. Like, I'm literally straight up saying through experience that these thoughts literally just come out of left field. And then it's really hard to control it, and then unless you have a family member or a friend who's like trying to bring you out of that delusion is the moment when I finally realize, okay, what the fuck I'm doing, because they break me out of that delusion. It's essentially the same as being high. Like, you can't, like, or drunk. Like, you really can't control yourself. That's the best way I can explain how having suicidal thoughts and all that stuff happens, because I go through it myself. It's essentially like being drunk or high. You don't have full control over yourself when these thoughts occur in your head, and that's why people often end up ending their own lives. There's a reason why Robin Williams is not a part of this world anymore. Keep that in mind. But on the back to my point, like how angry, like I said, you have to be seriously angry with somebody to pull out a gun, let alone any weapon. So So, but still though, the fact that you even tried to do that in the first place makes me believe that you're fucking crazy. Especially since this isn't the first time that my coworker has done something completely fucking stupid. Because he's also had many instances where he would show up at my job and do some very unprofessional things, such as trying to make food without wearing gloves and all that stuff, basically getting his germs all over the food and then trying to serve it out to customers. Now listen, I don't like serving customers either, because I think they're very annoying and all that stuff, but at the same time, we're not trying to kill anyone. All right, we're trying to give these people exactly what they want and all that stuff, so they can leave us alone and just leave and all that stuff. We're not trying to commit mass murder. And God forbid if people do end up getting sick off of our food, then that means that location of McDonald's is going to be closed down forever, and then all of us are going to be out of jobs, and then I won't be able to support myself anymore. So yeah, thanks a lot, jackass, for literally doing that. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Making food without gloves, that's something that the company wouldn't like upon. Yeah, exactly. So because he was trying to make food without his gloves and all that stuff, that's why we had to kick him out one time, because we don't allow that. Because it's against company regulations, basically. Like I said, people can give McDonald's the bad reputation they want, but we do have some very legitimate safety regulations that we do. So, and that's one of them. Never make food without gloves, because first of all, like I said, your germs are all over there, and when you have the gloves on, it protects the food from all that stuff. Even if the employees who make the food is their own, it's still safe to use gloves, because again, it means that the germs won't get anywhere, and it prevents, yes, exactly, and it prevents contamination, exactly. So that's why we had to let him go. because he was a heavy burden on the company. Yes, he was being a heavy burden on the company, and we do not want, and we definitely don't want his personal issues affecting the business. Because if he continues to do this shit, then our business is gonna die. Then all of us are gonna be out of jobs, and then I won't be able to support myself, and then I have to find another job, which I still plan to do. I still plan to find another job after much advice from friends and family and all that stuff who say that I should go get another job upon this happening and how they treat me and all that stuff. So I'm planning to. What I plan to do is I plan to stick around with the company for a little bit longer, just so I can have money for the holiday season and all that. Get gifts for my family and stuff like that. But after that, I'm gonna have to find another job where I feel a lot more, where I feel more accepted and all that stuff. At least around when the semester ends is probably when I'm gonna get. Is probably when I'm gonna hightail out of there. But yeah, that was the story of what happened this past Tuesday. It was pretty awful. It was a pretty scary situation, and I have been pretty mentally messed up since then, and that's why I haven't been making videos a lot. I'm actually trying to get back into my habit of making videos and all that, so that way, we can make videos for everybody. So that way, I can make videos for everybody, for those who miss me, because I'm trying to start like an upload schedule and all that stuff, and plus I'm still trying to work on my projects and all that stuff, all of which are still going to be coming out really soon. So just stay tuned for all of that. I've already said enough in this podcast. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it, because I think so far this might be one of the better podcasts that I've done in a long time, because I was able to let out so many things that I've always wanted to talk about, such as the Disney Plus thing and the Circus City thing, as well as what happened this past Tuesday. So I really do hope you guys did enjoy this podcast, and don't worry, there will be more. And the Real Talk podcast is gonna be on every Sunday, so I'm just gonna throw that out there. So yeah, the Real Talk podcast will air every Sunday. If the schedule of the podcast change, everybody will know beforehand. So thank you guys for listening in, and until then, guys, this is your friendly neighborhood reptile signing off. Just be sure to check out some of the other videos I've recently posted, such as the Dark Danny video. I did recently dispute that, so it should be available, and also the Crash Team Racing videos. They have been recently doing well, but yeah, check those out, so that way you guys can see both me and my cousin play that game and getting our asses kicked, and then me getting my ass kicked on online. So be sure to check all of that out, and I will see you guys next time, and you guys have a wonderful night. This has been the Real Talk Podcast with Larry Hitson III. If you are a fan of Master Reptile, be sure to check out his Spotify page. The new single, Chased by a Demon, as a part of his upcoming album, Black Christmas, is set to be released soon, featuring a brand new metal artist, while the Master Reptile provides the vocals. This album will be coming out soon in 2020. Please stay tuned for the next episode of the Real Talk Podcast, hosted by the Reptile, as we are set to talk about more upcoming films for the year of 2020.